I hope you both choke on your little secret meetings, I screamed across the five-star restaurant, my voice carrying over the clink of expensive cutlery and hushed conversations of pro football's elite. 72 hours before the biggest game of the season, and here I was, making a scene in front of the entire coaching staff, several players, and at least 3 sports news reporters pretending not to record everything on their phones. My name is Arya Lockhart, and at 29, I'd just potentially torpedoed my career as the youngest lead physiotherapist in PR football. 8 years of education, 3 years of working my way up through minor leagues, and 2 seasons of proving myself in the big leagues, all possibly destroyed in 15 seconds of pure, unfiltered rage. The thing about working with professional athletes is that you're supposed to maintain boundaries. Clear, professional, unbreakable boundaries. I broke mine 8 months ago when Connor Garrett, our star quarterback, with the jawline of a Greek god and the arm of a legend, kissed me in the training room after everyone had left. That kiss turned into 8 months of secret meetings, hidden touches, and the kind of passion that burns so hot you forget it can also burn everything down. Now, standing in the Bellagio's premier restaurant, watching Connor's face shift from shock to anger to that careful, media-trained neutral expression he'd perfected, I realized I'd just lit the match that would burn it all. Arya, Lena Rodriguez's voice cut through the silence, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor as she approached me. The team owner's daughter, my supposed friend, and apparently my boyfriend's secret meeting partner. Let's take this somewhere private. Behind Lena, Connor stood up slowly, all 6'4" of him commanding attention without trying. Other diners weren't even pretending not to stare anymore. Coach Martinez was already on his phone, probably calling PR. The sports news reporters had abandoned their stakes entirely. Private? I laughed, the sound brittle even to my own ears. Like your little coffee dates? Your business meetings? Those private enough for you? You're drunk, Connor said quietly, the first words he'd spoken to me since I'd stormed in. His voice carried that slight southern drawl that usually made me weak in the knees. Now it just made me angrier. And you're a liar, I shot back, my hands shaking. 3 years ago, right? That's what the gossip blog said about you two. Old flames die hard? Lena stepped closer, her perfectly manicured hand reaching for my arm. Arya, you're about to what? Ruin my career? Pretty sure watching my boyfriend sneak around with the team owner's daughter 3 days before the Pro Football Championship already did that. The room fell so silent you could hear the ice melting in water glasses. I'd just confirmed every rumor, every whispered speculation about why our star quarterback seemed so focused during physio sessions. Jesus Christ, someone muttered. Probably Coach Martinez. Connor's face had gone pale, that careful mask slipping. Outside, now. His voice was steel, quarterback authority wrapped in Texas charm. Make me, I challenged, knowing I was being childish but too far gone to care. The 2 glasses of wine I downed before confronting them weren't helping my judgment. That's when Lena did something unexpected. She pulled out her phone, clicked a few times, and held it up to my face. On the screen was a jewelry store receipt. Tiffany & Co. Dated yesterday. Since you won't shut up and listen, she said, her voice tight with frustration, maybe you'll look. The room started spinning, but not from the wine. My knees went weak as I stared at the receipt. A 2.3-carat oval diamond ring. The kind of ring you don't buy for a side piece or an ex-girlfriend. Oh God, I whispered. Conference room. Now. Lena's tone left no room for argument. She practically dragged me out, Connor following behind us, his footsteps heavy on the plush carpet. The private conference room felt too small for the magnitude of my mistake. Framed jerseys from past pro football championships stared down at me accusingly. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Las Vegas Strip twinkled mockingly. I've been helping him plan the proposal for weeks, Lena said, pacing. The ring, the timing, the contract negotiations to make your relationship public after the win. Contract negotiations? My voice sounded small. You think it's easy for a starting quarterback to date team staff? Connor finally spoke, running a hand through his dark hair. We needed everything ironclad, legal, protected. Lena's been helping navigate the politics. The room was spinning again. But the coffee shops, the secret meetings. Planning your dream proposal, you impossible woman, Lena snapped, which, by the way, involved convincing my father that letting his star quarterback date his physiotherapist wouldn't destroy team dynamics. Though after tonight's performance, my stomach lurched. The team owner knew, Connor corrected, and approved, was willing to announce it after the Pro Football Championship. Now? He laughed humorlessly. Now we've got reporters out there tweeting about our secret relationship, 3 days before the biggest game of my career. The magnitude of what I'd done hit me like a linebacker. I thought, the way you two were whispering at practice, the texts. Because you were always around. Lena threw her hands up. Try planning a surprise proposal when the target is literally paid to have her hands on the proposer daily. A knock at the door made us all jump. Coach Martinez entered, his face the color of a ripe tomato. PR's handling damage control, he said grimly. But we need statements, from all of you, now. The next few hours passed in a blur of PR meetings, carefully crafted statements, and watching our relationship become Twitter's main character of the night. Pro football love was trending. Someone had dug up old photos of Connor and me at team events, analyzing our body language. The ring receipt somehow leaked, probably from one of the restaurant patrons, and suddenly everyone was an expert on our relationship. By midnight, I was sitting alone in my hotel room, staring at my phone. The official statement painted us as a professional couple who had followed all proper protocols, a lie, who were planning to announce their relationship after the Pro Football Championship, partially true, and who regretted the public nature of their private moment. Understatement of the century. Connor hadn't spoken to me since the conference room. Lena was busy doing damage control with her father. The ring, I learned, was still in its blue box hidden in Connor's hotel safe. A ring that was supposed to be presented after his first Pro Football Championship win in front of millions, a perfect sports fairy tale. Instead, we were trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. The next morning, Las Vegas felt too bright, too loud. Every TV in the hotel lobby was running the story. Pro football power couple drama rocks Pro Football Championship week, the headlines screamed. Sports news was having a field day. My phone had hundreds of messages, most from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Practice was worse. The training room, usually my sanctuary, felt like a prison. Every player who came in watched me with careful eyes. The backup quarterback made a point of requesting a different therapist. I couldn't blame him. Your 2:00 is here, my assistant said, not meeting my eyes. Connor walked in, straight-faced and professional. The same way he'd walked in hundreds of times before, except now everyone knew. Now it was different. Right hamstring, I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Yeah, one word, clinical. As I worked on his leg, I remembered how this all started. Last season, same treatment table, different atmosphere. He'd been telling me about his childhood in Texas, about throwing footballs through tire swings. I'd been laughing at his impression of his high school coach. The tension had been building for months. When he kissed me that day, it felt inevitable. Now his body was rigid under my hands, that's not in the good way. I'm sorry, I whispered, low enough that only he could hear. You didn't trust me, he replied, equally quiet. 8 months together, and you didn't trust me enough to just ask. I saw the way she looked at you. She looked at me like a friend helping plan the biggest moment of my life. His voice hardened. A life I wanted with you. Wanted. Past tense. The word hit like a physical blow. The rest of the week unfolded like a slow-motion car crash. Every press conference included questions about our relationship. Every team meeting had an undercurrent of tension. Lena avoided me entirely, which hurt more than I expected. She'd become a real friend over the past 2 years, not just the owner's daughter. The night before the Pro Football Championship, someone slipped an envelope under my hotel room door. Inside was a USB drive. Against my better judgment, I plugged it in. Video clips. Dozens of them. Security footage from various coffee shops and restaurants showing Connor and Lena meeting. But now, watching without jealousy's filter, I saw what I'd missed. The way they'd pore over papers, point at phone screens. One clip showed Connor practicing getting down on one knee, while Lena critiqued his form, both laughing. The final clip was from yesterday morning, before everything fell apart. Connor was holding the Tiffany box, beaming. She's gonna love it, right? Lena's voice came from off camera. She better, considering how many jewelry stores you dragged me to. I closed my laptop and cried for the first time since the restaurant. Pro Football Championship Sunday dawned clear and cold. The stadium was already buzzing by 8 a.m., and I had 6 hours of pregame prep ahead of me. The team had assigned another physiotherapist to work with Connor. I pretended it didn't feel like a knife to the gut. "You should watch this," Lena said, appearing in my office doorway. She looked exhausted but impeccable in her game day suit. Without waiting for a response, she placed her tablet on my desk. It was playing Sports News' pre-game coverage. Connor was on screen, doing his first solo interview since our disaster. "Look, what happened this week, that's on me too," he was saying. "When you keep something secret, even for good reasons, it creates doubt. And doubt, well, doubt can make the most secure person question everything." The interviewer leaned in. "See why Miss Lockhart reacted the way she did? I understand that I hurt someone I love by trying to create a perfect moment instead of just being honest. Sometimes we forget that grand gestures aren't worth the small wounds we cause along the way." Love. Present tense. "He wrote that himself," Lena said quietly. "Refused to let PR touch it." "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you're both idiots, and I've invested too much time in this relationship to watch it implode over miscommunication." She straightened her blazer. "He's in the West warm-up room, alone, for the next 20 minutes. I found him exactly where Lena said he would be, going through his pre-game stretches. He didn't seem surprised to see me. Your form is off," I said, because it was easier than everything else I needed to say. "Yeah?" A ghost of a smile. "Guess I need a good physiotherapist." "Connor." Wait." He stood up, all 6'4" of focused intensity. "Me first. I had this whole speech planned, for after the game, about how you put me back together, literally and figuratively, about how you never let me get away with playing through injuries on the field or in life, about how you make me better." My throat felt tight. Sounds like a good speech. It was, had statistics and everything. About injury recovery rates and relationship success patterns. He stepped closer. "But I think maybe we both need to stop planning perfect moments and start living real ones." "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "About the restaurant? About not trusting you, about ruining everything." "You didn't ruin everything. You just," he smiled slightly, "called an audible on my carefully planned play." "Did you just make a football metaphor during our reconciliation?" Seemed appropriate, given the venue. The stadium roared to life around us, but in that warm-up room, time seemed suspended. "I can't take back what I did," I said. "The media, the team drama, your reputation." "Our reputation," he corrected. "And maybe that's not entirely bad. No more sneaking around, no more second-guessing every interaction. Just us, dealing with whatever comes next. Together." "Together sounds good." I reached up to touch his face, then stopped myself. "Wait, are we allowed to?" He caught my hand. "New contract was signed yesterday. Full disclosure of relationship, strict professional boundaries during work hours, separate physiotherapist for game days." Lena and her father spent all week revising it. While I was busy jumping to conclusions and making scenes in restaurants, while you were being human. He squeezed my hand. "But maybe next time, just ask me before assuming I'm secretly dating the woman helping me shop for your engagement ring." The stadium speakers crackled to life, announcing 1 hour until kickoff. "You should go," I said. "Big game to win." "Bigger question to ask after," he replied, that Texas drawl making my knees weak again. "If you're willing to stick around and hear it, I think I can manage that." The game itself was a blur of tension and triumph. I watched from the sidelines as Connor played the game of his life, every throw perfect, every play calculated. When the final whistle blew, we'd won by 3 points. In the chaos that followed, as confetti rained down and cameras flashed, Connor found me in the crowd. He didn't get down on one knee. We'd had enough media spectacle for 1 week. Instead, he simply pulled the Tiffany box from his jersey pocket and held it out. "No speech," he said. "No perfect moment. Just us." "Just us," I agreed, opening the box. Lena appeared beside us, grinning. "About time. Also, you both owe me approximately 7 years of my life back." "Worth it," Connor said, sliding the ring onto my finger. The next morning's headlines were decidedly different from the week before. Pro football championship victory leads to sideline proposal. Pro football's most dramatic love story gets happy ending. Fourth and long, a Hail Mary for love. But my favorite moment wasn't captured by any camera. It was later that night, in a quiet corner of the celebration party, when Lena hugged me and whispered, "Next time you think your man's cheating, just remember, some of us are too busy being awesome wing women to steal your quarterback." Sometimes the biggest wins come from our biggest mistakes. Sometimes trust isn't about never doubting, but about choosing to believe anyway. And sometimes, just sometimes, the perfect moment isn't the one you plan, but the one you create from the ashes of your own imperfections. As for me, I'm still learning, still growing, still occasionally making scenes in restaurants, but now they're usually happy ones.